What if I told you there exists a country so small you could walk across it in under an hour? Yet so wealthy that every street gleams with supercars. Harbors glitter with billion-dollar yachts. And even license plates are worth as much as royal palaces? Imagine a world where cats ride private elevators. Dogs have bank accounts. And afternoons are not measured by the clock, but by the rhythm of waves whispering against the Mediterranean shore. Nestled between the sea and the French Alps, Monaco is a shimmering jewel, both real and surreal, where medieval tradition collides with modern extravagance. Few realize that this tiny principality holds paradoxes beyond belief, modest in size yet colossal in influence. Exclusive yet endlessly mysterious. And today, we will unlock those secrets together, unveiling 15 mind-blowing facts about Monaco. The kingdom you thought you knew, but which is nothing like you ever imagined. So let us begin this journey with the very first revelation that will leave you breathless. Number 15. The world's most luxurious lifestyle. Can you believe there exists a country smaller than a Florida golf course, barely 0.78 square miles, yet home to the highest concentration of millionaires and billionaires on Earth? This is Monaco, a glittering jewel squeezed between the Mediterranean Sea and the French Alps. With a population of just 38,000, only around 9,000 are true citizens. The Monegasque. The rest? Millionaires, billionaires, royals, and movie stars, all drawn here by one irresistible promise, a tax-free paradise. Picture yourself strolling along the cobblestone streets of Monte Carlo, where the air hums not only with French, Italian, and English, but with the silent language of the ultra-rich. A discreet glance at a Patek Philippe wristwatch speaks louder than words. In winter, at a mild 10 degrees Celsius, trench coats flutter as convertibles cruise beneath a soft Mediterranean sun. In summer, at 26 degrees Celsius, champagne glasses sparkle as if time itself had slowed. Monaco is not just a country, it is an open-air VIP club, where luxury is not displayed but breathed, as natural as the sea breeze. Number 14. Larvotto, Europe's most expensive beach. Can you imagine a beach where the sand is not merely sculpted by the tide, but imported from distant shores to embody pure luxury? This is Larvotto, Monaco's most famous beach. A slender ribbon of white sand hugging the Mediterranean coast like a strand of golden silk. Here, the sea doesn't just mirror the sky, it reflects fleets of superyachts, each worth more than a skyscraper penthouse. Anchored just offshore, at Larvotto, beachwear isn't shorts and flip-flops. It's Versace swimsuits and sunglasses priced as high as a year's rent in Los Angeles. The soundtrack is not pounding music, but the gentle hush of waves and the delicate chime of champagne flutes. And the greatest surprise? This is Monaco's only public beach. And yes, it's free. Lay down your towel, and you may find yourself sunbathing beside a millionaire, a royal, or even a Hollywood star. In summer, the skies stretch endlessly blue at a perfect 26 degrees Celsius. In winter, at 10 degrees Celsius, visitors stroll in trench coats, looking as though they've stepped straight out of a 1960s French film. Number 13. Women of Monaco, International Elegance. Did you know that women in Monaco are not only admired for their beauty, but also for having the highest life expectancy in the world, an astonishing 93 years? Their secret lies not in strict diets or grueling gym routines, but in the art of savoring life with confidence, poise, and ease. Along the cobblestone promenades of Monte Carlo, they glide like figures straight from the cover of Vogue, draped in Dior Couture. Walking unhurried, eyes calm, leaving behind a lingering trace of French perfume. One fascinating tradition: before marriage, many couples take part in the Pacte de Mariage, a solemn vow to journey through life together. And weddings? They must be announced in the press. For here, Love is not hidden but celebrated publicly, as though affection itself is a royal decree. Astonishingly, over 80% of marriages in Monaco involve foreigners, transforming this tiny principality into a crossroads of global romance. To walk beside a woman of Monaco is to walk beside elegance itself, timeless, unforced, and quietly captivating. Number 12. Monaco-Ville, the oldest soul on the rock. Have you ever heard of a town on a rock, where time seems sealed in limestone and a royal ritual still strikes at 11:55 a.m. sharp? Welcome to Monaco-Ville, or La Roche, the ancient heart of Monaco, perched nearly 200 feet above the glittering Mediterranean. Since 1297, when the Grimaldi family first claimed this citadel, its cobblestone lanes and pastel facades with geranium-laden balconies have whispered tales of faith, trade winds, and seafaring courage. Inside a modest library, 17th-century manuscripts retain the ghost of ink, 3 museums and a 19th-century church layer the memory of a small yet steadfast community. At daybreak you stand on the cliff's lip, below. Hercule port dazzles, superyachts shimmering like silver scales, each worth as much as a private jet. Above is classical composure, below curated splendor, 2 worlds conversing in bells and sea breeze. Why does Monaco-Ville matter? Because it is the perfect counterpoint. A handful of streets holding a royal chronicle, quiet yet resonant with authority, diminutive yet embracing an oceanic horizon, a stone heart pumping lifeblood to the lavish body beneath. Number 11. A paradise for pets of the ultra-rich. Can you believe that in Monaco? Luxury is not reserved for humans alone, but extends even to pets? Here, poodles strut about in diamond-studded collars, some worth more than wedding rings, while cats sprawl lazily across custom-designed beds in penthouses fitted with elevators solely for their furry residents. Every year, Monaco even hosts Pet Fashion Week, where dachshunds and terriers parade down a miniature runway draped in Hermes scarves and cashmere coats, greeted by flashing cameras and applause as if they were movie stars. One famous story tells of a resident who left over 10 million euros, $10.8 million, to their dog, a fortune that astonished the world. And in this micro-kingdom, pets with bank accounts, private walkers, and weekend spa treatments are nothing unusual. What does this reveal? That Monaco is not merely a paradise for the ultra-rich, but also a kingdom where 4-legged companions live like princes and princesses. It is surreal, enchanting, and thought-provoking, in a world where worth is measured by extravagance. Even the bond with pets is elevated to a regal ritual. Number 10. Royal traditions, tea with nobility. Can you imagine that in Monaco? An afternoon cup of tea is not simply a habit, but a royal ritual, a silent choreography where every gesture is bound by centuries of etiquette. Originating in the 19th century under Princess Anna Bedford, royal tea time has become an inseparable part of Monaco's aristocratic life. The table is adorned with fine china, silver trays of scones and delicate sandwiches, clotted cream crowned with strawberry jam, Darjeeling or Earl Grey leaves steep in ornate porcelain pots, filling the room with fragrance. Guests arrive in traditional red and white attire, conversing in Old French. And above all, laughter must remain subdued. Composure is the ultimate mark of refinement. One story tells of newcomers to the ceremony who clumsily mixed cream and jam together on their scone, a tiny misstep that quickly became the subject of whispered judgment. This reveals that in Monaco, elegance is not just custom, but an unwritten law, where tea is elevated into a cultural stage. Today, luxury hotels across the world replicate this ritual, but only in Monaco is it preserved with such reverence. Number 9. La Condamine, the neighborhood of silence. Can you imagine a neighborhood where even cars must whisper? In La Condamine, every vehicle entering is required to switch to silent electric mode, ensuring that no sound dares disturb the sanctuary of calm. Here, silence is golden, valued as deeply as privacy itself. Residents, from movie stars and royals to the world's financial elite, often communicate with subtle gestures or a fleeting glance. Because in this enclave, the language of elegance requires no words. One story tells of a visitor who once honked a car horn here, only to be met with the stern gazes of villa balconies, enough to leave him flushed with shame as though he had broken an ancient ritual. Nestled right beside Monaco's iconic harbor, La Condamine is framed by historic architecture and secluded gardens, creating a surreal sense that the outside world has been muted. What makes this neighborhood remarkable is not only its wealth, but its rare currency, absolute peace, a privilege reserved for those who already possess everything else. When we pause and reflect on the strange discoveries so far, we must ask, what do they truly reveal about us? From beaches where sand is imported grain by grain, to neighborhoods where silence itself is a luxury, to royal rituals echoing through centuries, all seem to reflect one universal desire. We do not merely wish to live. We long to leave a mark. Beneath the extravagance, the traditions, and even the absurd, lie timeless questions. Who are we in the flow of time? Why do we endlessly create, build, and adorn even the smallest details with beauty and meaning? And in the end, what legacy will we leave behind? Picture a scene under a sky of countless stars, moonlight cascading over ancient stone walls, or a ritual fire dancing in the desert night, all reminders that humanity has always sought eternity within fleeting moments. This is the moment to breathe more slowly, to let heartbeats and thoughts settle, to prepare for the greater mysteries that lie ahead. Because what you've seen so far is only the beginning. Number 8. License plates worth millions. Forget the roaring engines of supercars. For in Monaco, the ultimate symbol of wealth is not horsepower, it is a small, unassuming license plate. One plate, marked simply F1, once sold for over $14 million. Imagine a thin rectangle of metal worth more than entire neighborhoods in Paris or Beverly Hills. The story spread like legend. A discreet magnate paid a staggering sum to claim it. And from that day on, whenever an ordinary car bearing the F1 plate rolled through Monte Carlo, every head turned, as though it was not the car but a statement of power itself passing by. Why does something so mundane become so surreal? Because in Monaco, a license plate is not metal. It is identity, legacy, an invisible crown worn by those at the pinnacle of society's hierarchy. The shorter the plate, the rarer the number, the deeper its code in this silent language of the elite. And like a strange metaphor, Monaco reminds us that value is never fixed, it is only what humanity collectively agrees it to be. Number 7. Life without poverty. Did you know that Monaco is one of the few places on Earth where you will not find a single homeless person? Not because poverty has vanished, but because here, it is not allowed to exist. With average rents surpassing $10 per month, this tiny principality has created an invisible barrier that only the ultra-wealthy can cross. Picture a morning at the local market. Elegant women in flowing Hermes dresses lean over to select truffles as though choosing precious gems, while men stroll leisurely with perfectly groomed dogs, their wrists adorned with shimmering Patek Philippe watches. When night falls, the Hercule port ignites in brilliance. Ferraris speeding past McLarens, their lights reflecting on the water like a symphony of pearls. Yet beneath all this spectacle lies a profound truth. Monaco is not merely wealthy, it is curated like a living work of art, where every street, every lamp, every footstep contributes to a canvas of perfection, and where ugliness or hardship simply has no place. Number 6. Royal travel and cultural gems. Can you believe that a country smaller than a city park holds cultural treasures that rival those of entire nations? In Monaco, every landmark is not just architecture, but a living chapter of refinement. Perched upon the cliffs of La Roche, the prince's palace rises like something from a fairy tale. where the daily changing of the guard echoes centuries of royal authority. Not far away, the Opera de Monte Carlo, with only 524 seats, feels like a miniature Versailles, yet has hosted the world's most celebrated singers and dancers beneath its glittering chandeliers. Then there is the Oceanographic Museum, once directed by the legendary Jacques Cousteau, clinging dramatically to a cliffside and housing over 6,000 marine species, a portal into the infinite ocean. And at the heart of the principality blooms the Princess Grace Rose Garden, with 8,000 bushes spanning 300 varieties, each flower tagged with a QR code that tells its own story, as though history, science, and love all blossomed in one garden. Why is Monaco remarkable? Because culture here is not an excess of luxury, but refinement distilled to its purest form. Proof that greatness is not measured by size but by the depth of its values. Number 5. The language of the ultra-rich. Did you know that in Monaco, wealth is rarely spoken aloud, but hidden within glances and phrases as though coded in a secret language? Here, a Rolex or a Patek Philippe is more than jewelry, it is a passport into the unspoken society of billionaires. People don't say, "I have millions." Instead, they murmur, "I have some investments." Politeness is the currency, understatement the armor. One intriguing story tells of a cocktail party in Monte Carlo where two men exchanged only a few polite words. Yet behind those courtesies lay an investment deal worth tens of millions, sealed silently with a single glance. This reveals that in Monaco, language itself becomes an art of power, where silence may be more valuable than 1,000 words. That is what makes Monaco unique. Here, wealth does not roar, it shimmers quietly, like diamonds beneath silk. Number 4. A tax-free paradise. Can you believe there is a place in the world where personal and corporate income tax simply does not exist? That place is Monaco, a rare tax haven where for every 12.600 residents, there is 1 billionaire and 3 millionaires. Here, you won't find McDonald's or H&M, but instead Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Dior, and the finest luxury brands. Monaco's harbor is like a living exhibition of wealth, where superyachts worth hundreds of millions, even billions, line the waters. Picture standing before the eclipse, a $1.5 billion floating palace owned by Roman Abramovich, complete with a cinema, gym, swimming pool, and its very own helipad. But luxury doesn't just dominate the sea, it conquers the sky as well. Every 20 minutes, a helicopter shuttles between Monaco and Nice, turning the heavens into a private highway of affluence. This is not merely a financial refuge, but a stage for power, where the absence of taxes has transformed Monaco into a magnet for both fortunes and fascination. Number 3. Festivals of Haute Couture. Can you imagine that a tiny kingdom like Monaco hosts festivals rivaling the world's grandest events? Here, celebrations are not just parties, they are royal stages where fashion, music, and compassion converge. Take the Monte Carlo International Circus Festival, founded in 1974 by Prince Rainier III, often called the Oscars of the circus. In this ring, clowns do more than amuse, they can move audiences to tears, elevating performance into pure artistry. Then there is the Bal de la Rose, the Rose Ball, initiated by Princess Grace Kelly, a dazzling fusion of shimmering Chanel gowns, bubbling champagne, and soaring symphonic music, set against a ballroom of radiant chandeliers. What makes it unique is that every penny raised is donated to charity. A powerful reminder that luxury can coexist with kindness. In Monaco, festivals are more than entertainment, they are statements, declaring that beauty, wealth, and compassion can intertwine like notes in a grand symphony. Number 2. The high cost of living. Can you imagine that in Monaco? The average cost of living ranges from $6 to $8 per month. with rent alone often soaring past $10? And yet, some manage comfortably on about $4,500 if they budget wisely. Utility bills hover around $200, $250 per month. While dining at mid-range restaurants costs $30 minus $50 per meal. For healthcare, many residents simply cross the border into France, just a 15-minute drive away, where treatment is up to 40% cheaper. One telling story is of newcomers who first arrive overwhelmed by the staggering prices, only to later realize that living in Monaco is not merely about money. It is about privilege. The privilege of absolute safety, of waking up each day in a place of unmatched beauty, and of belonging to an elite global community. Monaco is like holding a ticket into a living gallery, where every detail gleams with refinement. And the true cost is not just financial, but the willingness to embrace a lifestyle far beyond ordinary. Number 1. A Taste of Monaco. Can you imagine that a country less than 1 square mile in size holds a cuisine that fuses the finesse of France with the warmth of Italy? In Monaco, food is not just sustenance, but a mirror of identity, small, refined, yet unforgettable. One culinary emblem is the fougasse monégasque, a tart crafted with almonds, cherries, and watermelon, each bite bursting like summer itself. Sweet and refreshing. Meanwhile, porchetta, stuffed with fennel and liver, slow roasted until the skin cracks into golden crispness, fills kitchens with aromas that feel half Provence, half Tuscany. A beloved tradition tells of families baking fougasse in festive times, sprinkled with fennel and anise seeds, wrapped in red paper tied with ribbon, gifted as blessings for prosperity. What makes Monaco's cuisine remarkable is its unique harmony, the precision of French gastronomy blended with the rustic warmth of Italian heritage. It is, in many ways, the perfect metaphor for Monaco itself, tiny, yet flavored with the richness of the world. Monaco is not just a country, it is a paradox wrapped in gold. A land so small you can cross it in under an hour, yet so vast in stories, mysteries, and luxury that it could fill lifetimes. Here, the sea mirrors superyachts, the streets echo with silence, and even pets live as royalty. Monaco is a stage where history, elegance, and extravagance dance together beneath the Mediterranean sun. And yet, Monaco is also a mirror, one that forces us to ask, what do we truly value? Is it wealth, beauty, status, or those quiet, fleeting moments that outlast them all? Among the 15 discoveries we explored today, which surprised you the most? And what mystery would you like us to uncover next? If today's journey left you inspired, don't let it end here. Join us as we continue to explore the hidden wonders of our world. Subscribe to Fascinating Discoveries, hit the bell icon, and step with us into the next enigma, because the world is always waiting to surprise you.